From here, we're gonna go ahead and have an agenda. So just to give you an idea, we're going so the whole point here, we're gonna go with a brief intro of how Comet works on the vendor availability side. What's the main points we need to take into account. Then we're gonna go ahead and talk about the implementation process and how the best practices, and then we'll go right into the demo. Okay. So to get started there, I'm gonna go ahead and just give you the idea of vendor availability. Okay. The whole point here is that since the forums sometimes they're just having those projections of what product they're going to have available, from today out to maybe 3 months or 4 months out. So let's go all the way up into August, right? So instead of the forum sending out emails, every week or every 3 weeks, letting you guys know what the availability is, within Comet, the vendors are able to upload it directly through the grower portal, so that way they can upload this availability based on if the vendors have a post-harvest, they can add the post-harvest. If not, just upload the file, right? That way, this can be projected on the e-commerce, or it can be projected on the pre-book settings, or it can be projected on the purchasing settings. So that way, sales, procurement, or the customer can see this projection and proceed to, allocate product from there and be able to create a pre-book within Comet and sending the vendor the PO automatically. Okay. We also have that setting to be done as a company, since there are forms that maybe they don't want to upload it, so they can send it directly to the company, and the company can proceed to manually upload it through the system. Which we're going to go in again. The demo, we're going to show you exactly step by step how this is going to be done, and go from there. Okay. Now, the initial request, when you guys are wanting to activate the vendor availability, you have to let Comet know about it. So that way we can go and activate a setting for that. And then, what we suggest is that you start out, testing it first with 1 or 2 vendors. And as things are, working out and you're getting used to it, then we can be adding more vendors to it. Now, some companies may not only want to go with 1, they want to go with, 5 or 10. Again, we suggest you start out with 1 or 2 vendors, since it's easier to kind of get, acquainted with the system, how it works, kind of get used to it and make it easy, right? Now, the system, you can add as many vendors, for that, so there's really no limitation in that case. One thing I do want to point out is that once that setting is activated, if a vendor has access, to multiple Comet Sales accounts because the customer gives them access to, the document that they upload will be projected. It can be projected to every single one of those, platforms, and be updated in real time. Now, an importer will not be able to know who's reserving the product from that document from the vendor, but the vendor will be able to know who is actually, allocating those products and who they need to send them out to. So the document will be updated again in real time, so everybody knows the amount of product left. That way, there's no issues of reserving product, and it happens to be that the form no longer has it. So it's again, everything is in real time. All you need to do is send us an email. We'll proceed to create the request in that which vendors we want to do. We activate an ID for them, and then we send you back an email with the ID that the customer can use. Only if the company it's going to load it themselves. If the vendor will be doing it, there will be no need for the ID on the vendor side. Okay. Now, the settings for the configuration, this can be done as a company, it can be done as a customer, it can be done by vendor. And what I mean by this is that each individual part has different settings. So as a company, I can have a specific settings on how I want the prices to reflect, how I want the product to reflect, right? As a customer, we can give them the customer settings. So, can they build boxes, right? Mixed boxes. Can they have a form shipped direct, right? For the vendor availability. Do they want to change the product pack, right? For the vendor side, we can give them the option, like I was saying earlier, they can upload the product themselves directly to the screen, and this gives them an option to either overwrite what was already uploaded, previously uploaded, or add to what was previously uploaded, because maybe they ended up doing a new calculation, they saw they had a better projection than what before. So again, there's different settings. Today I'm not going to go into details of every single setting because there's a lot of them and I don't want to get everybody confused. I just want to give you guys the basic information of this. And then if anybody afterwards wants to do like a one-on-one demo, this can be arranged. All you gotta do is you guys can send me an email at danny@commonsales.com, or you can send it to support@commonsales.com and you just request a demo for the VA, and we can go from there. Okay. Really important notes here are these 2 tips that I got: bunches or stems. Now, what I mean by this is, since it's a vendor availability, it's a projection from the form. This means that it's a product that the form doesn't physically have available instantly. In some cases it may be, but the majority of the times it's going to be projection for the future, which means that it's not in boxes. So the form is uploading either bunches or stems based on the product. So that's what's really important. What's going to reflect on the system is it's going to show, for example, we have 1,000 stems of red roses, right? Or we have bunches of carnations, right? You got 20 bunches of carnations. Also, right now the way that customers will be able to see the price of the product is that we have to associate a price list to the vendor availability in order for that to have a price. Now, why is that? Is because it's a projection. So we don't know when when a customer is going to reserve it or when we're going to reserve it. So we really have no idea what the price of the market may be at that moment. So that's why it's best to do it with the prices. Now we're doing an improvement that is soon to come out, which is going to be a sort of pricing screen, just like the one we have on the inventory pricing tab. It's going to be integrated for this as well through the staging area where we load, which I'll get to that and later, give you more details. So again, those are the most important notes that I want to present over to you guys, so you can keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and go into the demo now. So going into the demo, the screen you guys are seeing is acting as a regular company user, right? Now the way we get to this, if we're gonna load ourselves the vendor availability and not the form, we're gonna go right into the inventory option. Okay, when we load up the inventory, we're gonna go ahead and click on add vendor right here, inventory, add inventory. So again, it's inventory, and we go right into add inventory. When it loads up the screen, we're gonna go ahead and click on vendor units availability right here on that right side. It's available once we activate that vendor availability setting for you guys. So I'll go ahead and click on it. And this is gonna load up the screen right here. Okay. Now within the screen, what we're seeing is the upload CSV file. This is where we can either come here. It says you can download a sample of your CSV file. So if you click here, it downloads a sample of an Excel file, what it looks like. But in reality, what it's going to do is going to have these fields right here. So since we're loading it as a company, remember how I previously stated that we're going to activate a vendor ID? That's where this comes into role. Vendor ID, right? Vendor ID is what's going to identify within Comet that vendor specifically and associate everything to that vendor's name. So we can create a PO automatically and send it over to them. Then it's gonna ask for product description. Okay, the product description is gonna be the full product. Red rose freedom. 40 centimeters or so on, or mini carnations. Yellow, right? The available from is really important because it's gonna tell us when it's available from. Now we're doing here international. We're doing an international settings, which is gonna be year, month, date. You can predetermine this on a person, like on your Excel or whatever format you guys are using. But it's really important that it's always stated as year, month, date. That's the way we did it, and the reason for that is because based on the region, different Excel is differently, and it's going to show the available from. It's the calendar frame is going to be differently. So that's why we try to do it as as an international standard, which is going to be year, month, date. You can then add the quantity units. Okay, that's going to be 100 or 200, 300. So you can add the post harvest. Now, not every single vendor or farm is going to have a post harvest, so there's no problem. We can just leave the column, make sure it leaves in black. And we're going to put in the category, color, and then we're going to go ahead and put in the unit cost. Okay. So let's go ahead and click on here so we can download the example and show you guys what it looks like. All right. So this is loading right now. I previously already created my own file, but this is the example format that you download, right? So go ahead and move this one over and bring it over. So this is the example file that the system is going to load, is going to download, which is going to have the vendor ID that I was talking about, the product description here. We expand this field so it shows Rose by Color Free Spirit. It shows this here available from. It's going to show here month, date, year, but this is again based on the region. This comes up with a different format, so that's why the standard rate will be year, month, date. Okay. Then this is going to be the quantity of the we're going to have available. As you can see, I'm just putting the number. Then I'm going to put the unit type, which is stem bunch. Post harvest, if we have it. If we don't have it, you can leave it blank. You can just leave it blank, but the column needs to be there. Then it shows category. Then it shows color, and this is the unit cost. Now, to upload the file, as we previously saw, it needs to be done on a CSV file, right? Now, through here, we provided as an Excel. Once you guys upload all the information, which is what I was doing here, so I previously did it to make it easier for everybody, it's going to be just like this, right? I put in the code, I put in the product, and then what I'm going to do afterwards is I'm going to go ahead and click on File. I'm going to go ahead and Save As. And when I'm saving it as, I'm just going to go into the, right here on the format, and I want to make sure it always says CSV file. So I click on the CSV, and then I can go ahead and click on Save. When I do that save, it's automatically going to save it in your system as follows. It's going to create a file on your desktop. I recommend to do it on a desktop or on a folder, and it's going to show here, CSV. As you can see, it shows CSV at the bottom. Now, I cannot double click on that file, because if I double click on that file, it's automatically going to reopen it into an Excel, and I lose the format. Okay? So once we're ready to load it, all I go ahead is I can just click here, or I can drag the file. I can look for the file, and in this case, I'm going to go ahead and click on this one right here, which is I set it, and click on Open, and it starts loading the file for us. Okay? Now, this automatically is going to be sending an email. It's going to send you an email, right? Because it identifies your username, which you log into Common, as you can see up here. If there's any errors, they'll be presented on that email saying, hey, line item, line 21, column F has X error. If it did it. If it doesn't have any errors, then it's automatically going to say your upload has been successful and the product is ready to be shown, right? Once you upload it, if you upload it for the first time, we recommend to always go right into the staging area. Why? When we're sitting in the staging area, this is very important to be here and come into the filters. I'm going to go ahead and extend out to a couple of months back, right? And click, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on search. And the reason why I'm doing this is because the system is going to identify products that the vendor calls them. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and use this examples here, right? Rose red color, 40 centimeter by 12. Now that's what the vendor called this product, or this one right here, rose bicolor pink deep purple, right? But what do we call that product? Because everybody can call this product differently. So the system is going to say, hey, we need a map. So in this case, I'm going to say, hey, this rose bicolor pink, it's going to be rose bicolor. Actually, we do have a bicolor. And then let's put in pink. So as you can see, I'm just going to try to look for the colors. It's going to be here, rose pink bicolor. At least, for example, we can use this one. So I'm just going to take this one into account, right? But I'm going to use the 50 centimeters. So what I'm doing here is telling the system, hey, every time vendor Flowers ABC uploads the vendor availability, and they're uploading the product rose bicolor pink deep purple 50 centimeters, it actually is the same thing as rose pink bicolor within my system, because that's how I call that product, which is the same thing, but I call it rose pink bicolor. Okay, so that way, once I'm done doing all the mapping, I can come and just select these two colors here, and then I can just click here on confirm product. When I confirm that product, it automatically gets transferred over into the available items. Okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the available items and see what we have available. Now, if we look at it, what we're loading, I loaded the rose bicolor, mini carnations, pink 60, and hydrangea blue select. And we can see them here. I have the mini carnation hot pink 60 centimeters, right? It says vendor map product and product mapping, so I mapped the same. In this case right here, we have the rose bicolor free spirit, and what I did is on my system, I did it differently so you guys can see what I mean by the mapping. So it shows that we actually, in my system, I call it carnation white, right? Now, the vendor is the same what I've loaded before, but I'm calling it different in my system. Okay, so when the customer is going to see it, or when I'm going to see it, I'm not going to look for this product under rose bicolor. I'm going to look at my system under carnation white brand. Okay. Now that shows me there what vendor is coming from, and post harvest if they have any available from here. As we can see, the 630, the quantity that we have available, the unit cost, okay, and then we have here available is 35. All right. If there's any tags related to this, which this is optional, this we can go into. We want to do the one-on-one demos. I can go into details with this tag, but just to give you an idea, is if any vendors want to identify this product with a specific tag so they can look for it faster, they can add a tag to it, or this can also be done through the company. Whichever way, it's just, again, just to look for product that has a specific filter. Okay. Now, I can click here in the search bar and look for specific date frames available. Now, if I go back again, I did a couple of product here for October the 10th, right? So if we go ahead and look at here, if I switch over all the way into October, and I go October the 30th, and then let me expand here again to September. Now, the reason why I'm changing this is because the filter is only going to let us search a maximum rate for 3 months. After 3 months, if it goes over 3 months, it's going to tell us exactly, hey, you're exceeding the range for search, right? So let's look at right here, and here's my hydrangea blue select. So I got the product here, and as you can see, it shows me what's available on that time frame. Same thing with the ones that the rose white color they uploaded. I can see here they're available in that time frame as well. Okay. So now, this is how you load the product as a company user. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, but I'm going to show you guys how to upload it if you were a form. Okay. So let me go right into the side right here, and now this is my screen. I'm loading it as if I was a form, and then what I'm doing is the same process. The vendor is automatically going to log into the Aurora portal. You have to, you as a company, in this case as the importers, let us know, hey, please activate this for my vendor, and make sure that they're able to upload it to the portal. So that way we can go ahead and activate the setting here, and it's going to be the same format. The only difference here is that the vendor is going to have a special option that says upload options. Okay, and the reason why we have this is because since the vendor knows exactly what the projection will be, they have the chance to say, you know what, let me increase my availability, or let me override my previous availability. So how can I reflect this? What I did is I previously added some information, and I want to show you that. So I'm going to go ahead and say here that I want to look for a specific product, and I'm going to go with the hydrangea. Now, as you can see, I'm only just putting partial information. And now what I'm going to show you here, I'm going to go ahead all the way to October, and I'm going to click on the 30. Now, remember how I told you guys it only gives you a 3-month range? Watch what happens. When I click on search, automatically it tells me, hey, you're exceeding the 3 months. So what I do is I just go here again and extend it out to September, and then we click on search, and here's your product. So as you can see here, it's telling me that the Hydrangea Blue Select, we have a total of 970. In this case, it's actually bunches available. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is re-upload the product, but in this case, what I'm going to do is overwrite the existing. So I'm going to go ahead and, first of all, click on choose, overwrite previous, click on drag, and in this case, I'm selecting this file and click on open. Now, the difference again between this file and the other file that I loaded is that with this file, that's the reason why I selected it. I'm going to go ahead and remove file again and do it again and show you. I selected the VA vendor webinar. The reason why I selected this one is because this one does not require the ID field like the other one. If you can see, it's not showing that it needs an ID because it's being done directly through the vendor portal, so the system is able to identify the connection right away. Okay, so once the product is uploaded, I can come now over onto my available items, click on it. Once you click on it, it's gonna bring up the screen. Since I already previously have it searched, so it's faster. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh. So watch this. It shows 970 here in this line item. I'm gonna go ahead and click on refresh. If you notice that, what I did is I overwrote the information on here previously, then it now shows me 350. Okay, so that's how many now information I have. In this case, how many products I have available. Now what I'm going to go ahead is re-upload it again, but in this case I'm going to say, increase. So let's go back again, change the setting to increase availability. Let me remove this file here, and then select the webinar vendor. Okay. Click open, and then I'm going back again to the other screen and refreshing again. It shows here 350. Here's 23 and 7, and let's go ahead and add it. So as you notice this, it now actually increased the product that we have available. Okay. So again, those are the both sides that we can do it through as a vendor and as a company user. We recommend again that the vendor does the uploading for this. Again, because they're the ones who know the amount, they're able to pull the report through the screens. How do I know what has been sold? Okay, and the cool thing about this is that if you go to this actions right here, we can see what's going on, all the information. If I want to, click here on upload CSV file. Again, I can just do the different settings if I want to know what's going on. Away from that, the vendor also has the option here automatically go into the purchase orders and see what POs is automatically being added onto their system. So, there's different options that they have available for this to happen. Okay. Now, I'm going to go and focus on just, two main settings that I wanted to show you so we can take a look at them again. I'm going to go over into as a company user. And I'm going to go right over into setup, settings. Now, the important part and why I'm going to the settings here is to show as a company what settings you need to enable in order for the vendor availability to be reflected on e-commerce, and then I'm going to show you guys how it gets reflected on e-commerce. Right? So what I do again, go into setup settings, and then I'm going to go over to e-commerce settings here. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and, first of all, we're going to go ahead and make sure, do we have all the correct settings, right? Do we have the cutoff time? This is really important because we're going to make sure. Do we have, we're reflecting any rules and conditions. If that's okay, with the roof user unit upload here, I suggest that there is. You at least let them know that, hey, when you're looking for vendor availability, you use the product this way, or you can teach your customers how to do it, just so they know. You can put regulations in there. And then once that's done, make sure that the customer settings, enable services are set, then we go right into vendor availability option. Because through here, once we enable it, we come right here, we can do ship days offset. Okay, what this setting is going to be is that it's going to reflect the product, X amount of days. So for example, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and do example of 3. Right? So for example, the value is set to 3. The e-commerce order enter on Monday will be required the e-commerce user to set the ship date, okay, no sooner than the following Thursday. The reason for that is because it's going to take into account the time frame of the transportation from the farm over to your location, and then from that location over to the customer. So there's specific settings that we need to take into account for this. Okay. Now the other part here, it's going to be the quantity cap. So remember, it's being loaded in bunches or stems. And if I go back here and show you, if I said that I loaded, 1,500, but we don't want the end customer to see exactly that it's 1,500 stems available, we can say, hey, you know what? Let's put a quantity cap there at 500. Boom. When I do that and click on save, then it's automatically, whatever's over 500, it's always going to reflect 500, 500. Now, if it reduces that amount, then it's going to show, whatever is correct. But when it's over 500, it's always going to reflect an e-commerce 500. Okay? Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to log into e-commerce as a customer, and I'm going to show you what they would see on their end and how they can purchase that product. So I'm going to go quickly into e-commerce. So I'm clicking on the top. I'm going to go here and enter Angel's Flowers as a customer, and I'm going to say all, right? So I'm going to go ahead and select this one. So here's the customer. I'm logging in right into the screen, right? Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is click here on the calendar date, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the 4th, okay? Now the reason why I'm clicking the 4th is because based on the information that I've loaded, it says that the projection is available, starting the 30th, and I know there's a transit time of, 4 days it takes to product to be delivered. So that's why I just click there, and it shows me the information. So as you can see, here's a product that I previously loaded. We have the Carnation White Valerian, which is actually the Rose Freedom that we loaded in the system, right? So here it is. And then we have the Mini Carnation Pink. Now, if you notice, it shows that vendor name. We can enable this column here if we want to, or we can just remove it. It really comes down to your settings. As you can see here, it shows the quantity available. Now, it's not showing boxes. It's showing, again, stems or bunches. But watch this. Now, here it shows me what the unit price would be because I associated this one to a price list. This one, since it's not associated to a price list, is going to have a little log telling the customers they need to call you, right, for pricing. But if I go ahead and click here on the quantity, watch what happens. Even though it's showing me 200 stems, if I click here, it shows me the available boxes that I can purchase from that product. So if I say, you know what, I'm going to need 2 boxes, and I click on the box type, it's going to show me what boxes are available. And the reason why the system does this is because when we upload the vendor availability to the system, it's going to take into account your default product pack. So the default product pack is a really important setting that as a company you should already have in your system in order to, for instance, go say, hey, you know what, based on this product from this vendor, the pack is this way, and it's associated to a box. It could be a quarter box, half box, whatever it is, and it reflects it here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select the quarter box and then just click on add item. Okay, oh, I forgot to select the carrier, so let me go ahead and say carrier 1 and then click add item. Go ahead back, 2 boxes, I'm going to say quarter box, click enter. And boom, automatically the system proceeded to create a pre-book. So that way it goes in, creates a pre-book, creates a purchase order, sends it over to the vendor, and done deal. Customer just pre-booked something without us having to buy the product. So that's the benefit of having this feature. Again, e-commerce, it can also be done as an internal company user. You can use it for procurement to buy their open market sales if they need it. But really, the deal for this will be for your customers to see the product and purchase it from there. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and look this pre-book, see what it looks like. Pre-book 49878. I'm going to go ahead and log out of the e-commerce and log in now back as a company user. And I'm going to be acting now as a salesperson going directly into the pre-books, pre-book summary. Okay? And then we click here on search, and I'm going to go ahead and look for this pre-book here, or if you looked at it, it already states here the 49878. It shows me a W, so I can see that it comes from the web. And if I click on the magnifying glass here, it's automatically going to tell me that it's associated to vendor availability, two quarter boxes of Carnation White Premium, okay? And as you can see, it already has a purchase order associated to it. It says it's going to be shipped by the vendor on the 4th, arriving on the 10th, okay? All right, so again, guys, that's pretty much what vendor availability is, what it covers, how it works from both ends. This is a feature that, you as an importer should maximize to project to your customers, and you as a farm, as a grower, should also maximize to project everything. Because if you looked at it, instead of you having to send out emails on a daily basis, letting everybody know what's going on, I can just upload it into Comet for all my vendors, right? For all my customers. They can just proceed to buy. I get a PO, I can see this tracking, and I'm saving a lot of time in that case of having projected, and it can be projected to multiple customers of yours if they use Comet. So that's just a possibility that is going to make things easier for the farm. It could be probably a little, getting used to, but it's definitely going to save you some time. I hope all this information, it was helpful for you guys. Again, if you want to do a one-on-one sessions, definitely let us know. You can send us an email. I'm going to go ahead and take this time now for the Q&A sessions. Please let me know if anybody, has any questions that I can go strictly and answer, and that way I can go from there. Okay? Okay, here's one question. Does it take very long for us to activate that setting? All right, it's a really good question. It doesn't really take us that long. Once you send us the email, from that moment, what we do is that we proceed to, request if you just send us the vendor name for what we activate, we just go back and ask you, okay, let us know which vendor you activate. We proceed to do that. Within that same day, we will be able to have the settings activated. We'll present you the ID, and you can proceed to let your vendor know about it, or you can now have the vendors send you the document, and you can upload it with the ID that we gave you. Okay. All right. Here's another question I have here. Do we have to do the mapping product for each vendor? Okay, that is a very, very good question. Yes, you have to do the mapping only for the first time. Once that mapping is done, since it's going to be done, again, the mapping gets done only for the importing company or whoever is receiving that product on their system, right? So yes, you do the mapping, you do it one time and one time only, and that's it. Once that mapping is done for the first time, then it's completely done and there's nothing else. We are working on something to improve the system in that case and create a standard, right? But right now, unfortunately, it has to be done that way because you guys know how you want to call your product. And since the industry in North America, there's no standard for what each product has a name for, then that's kind of where we're trying to jump in and avoid it. In the meantime, yes, you do have to do the mapping. Okay? All right. The other question we're getting here is wanting to let us know, does this have a cost? Like I said it previously, there is no cost to activate the vendor availability option to be uploaded. So the vendors can just, request their customer, please proceed to enable it. We can now proceed to activate that. Vendor goes to enable it, and there's no cost for that. So, again, this is a freebie. It's just an option for the customers to be able to have more product, more availability, and better channels to expose their information. Okay. All right, guys. Those are the only questions that I'm having. Yes. Any other questions that you guys may have? Any doubts regarding settings? How it would work? Time frame on the implementation process or training? Is it time consuming? Okay, we're having another question. Do we train the vendors or the farms, I should say, to upload this product? Okay. We as Comet do not train the farm direct, because if we were to train each individual farm to do the upload, it would literally all be here training every day. And so if we don't do it, that's why we're doing these webinars. So that way they have access. We have videos as well on YouTube where the farms can go up, see these videos, quick tutorials of 2 minutes to 5 minutes max on how the product gets uploaded into the system. Any questions they have, they can send us a chat with Comet and ask us a question. How can I do this? Is not able to see it. I don't see the product. We're more than glad to get guide them. But honestly, we do not train every single farm out there to do this. Okay. All right, guys. I guess that was the last question. I don't see any other questions. So again, I want to take the time to thank everybody for attending this webinar today. If there's anything that comes up after the webinar, any questions or any doubts, don't hesitate to contact us. Don't hesitate as well to go into our cometsales.com and click on resource and download any documents in there, like white papers that we're always posting, not just with webinar for VA, but there's webinars on BI, there's webinars on different things that we do within the system that can help you improve your process in Comet. Again, part of why we're doing this is because we want everybody to improve and maximize their operations with Comet, and we're here to help you guys out. So, we'll be in touch. Again, thank you for everybody attending this, and we'll be in touch. You have a great day. Take care.